My name is Klaasmeyer. I wanted to introduce myself a little and then tell you about my study abroad experience in Italy for 2.5 weeks during the summer of 2015. And I've included some pictures in the PowerPoint, but they don't really go along with what I'm saying. They're just to give you a better picture of where I was and what I saw. So I'm a civil engineering student. I grew up a couple miles outside of Burr, Nebraska, which is a teeny tiny town with a population of 57 people about 45 minutes away from here. And I graduated high school from Johnson County Central in Tecumseh. I had completed my first year at UNL before I went on the faculty-led Italy engineering. It was a 3-credit course on architecture. I've always found architecture really interesting and I love history, so I figured studying architecture in Italy was a perfect combination, and it definitely was. I had done some traveling before I went on the study abroad, but it was always just for fun and sightseeing. I wanted to try traveling with an academic purpose. I also like going on a summer trip because it was shorter and I wasn't committing myself to a whole semester before I knew if it was for me or not. So planning to do a study abroad can take a lot of time with getting everything filled out and making sure it fits into your schedule, but it's not impossible and it's totally worth it. I received 3 credit hours for this trip. It covered engineering 490 and took care of my ACE 9 requirement. If you're in the honors program, it's also worth asking if you can get credit for your time abroad. And as for financing the trip, you can use scholarships that you have from the university, such as the Regency if you have it, but just make sure that you have checked that you want it to apply to any summer sessions that you take. And I also received study abroad scholarships. There's a lot of those offered and they're really easy to fill out. Most of them just require one common application, but I do encourage you to apply for the few others that require a separate application, as that's where I got most of my scholarships. So this trip gave me more insight onto the Italian culture. The driving in Rome really is as crazy as everyone says it is. And it's just like here, it's really hot and humid and gross. And we did a lot of walking, 9 to 11 miles. And so with all that walking, I learned to really appreciate our air conditioning because that's something that some places in Italy lack, including the hotels. So while traveling opens your eyes to all the amazing sights to see, it can also teach you not to take for granted everything that we have at home. So our trip started in Rome, and our classroom consisted of the famous sites, the ancient ruins, cathedrals, monuments, etc. And our professor, Dr. Adomish from UNO, would give us our lectures at these sites. For example, the Roman Forum, or standing in line to climb the Duomo in Florence, or on the bus ride to Pompeii. One of our assignments was to pick a site and give our own presentation on it, and I really enjoyed listening to everyone's presentation. Plus, it makes seeing the sites a lot more interesting if you know some history and background on them. So most of our days were filled with sightseeing and interesting lectures, giving us only the time after dinner to ourselves to rewind, relax, and go to bed. But some of the days were only half filled with touring, and so that gave us the rest of the day to use as we wished, whether it was just exploring the city, going out to eat, getting some gelato. A few of us did some sketches. It was really great just to have that free time. Some of the other days were entirely to ourselves, our free days. With these days, most of us choose to do as Dr. Adomish recommended and take a day trip to some cities that weren't planned into our itinerary. One day we took a train to Venice, and another day we traveled to Cinque Terre. And I really enjoyed these days as it taught us a lot about traveling independently with getting our own train tickets and making sure we met all the times and wasn't late. So I think this trip had a really great balance between the guidance and group activities, along with the freedom and independence to explore as we wished. It really gave us confidence as traveling abroad, which is something that I think is really important. So I had a great time on this trip. It was amazing. There were some kids on the trip who had never traveled outside of the US, had hardly done any traveling at all, and they still had a fabulous time and keep saying how they need to keep traveling. So even if you haven't done much traveling, I guarantee you'll love it. It was great. So yeah, I had a great time and it was the highlight of my summer.